This guy was saying, I have evidence of corruption in the government. He's saying that the CIA is going to kill me. He said, if my body is found, I did not commit suicide. Hey, this is Matt Cox and Zach. We're back, and we're going to do. We're gonna talk about a. I want to say a questionable. We're going to talk about John McAfee and
security.
The questionable. The questionable
passing.
His questionable suicide. The whole situation of what's going on, and
you question whether he struggled or the suicide.
Yeah, how he hung himself in a jail cell. Did you see the jail cell?
Yes,
it's tiny. Listen, I'm 5'6". I couldn't hang myself in there. I don't know how a guy who's like 6'4" hung himself. I don't know where are you hanging yourself. I mean,
it takes a lot of effort. You got to hold your knees. A lot of effort.
He would have had to have tied himself. I guess if you tied your hands behind your back, which I don't know how you do, and tied them to your feet, and tied a rope, or you'd have to really, and then dropped yourself. I don't know how you do it.
Yes, but I'm not saying it's impossible because there are people who lean forward and hang themselves.
Yeah, I don't get that. At some point,
but that means that, at some point you're gonna relieve the pressure off of your neck.
I know. I'd be doing it, and I'd be thinking
it's human instincts,
right? Well, when I started to, if I was trying to hang myself and I did it that way, as soon as I started to really tighten, I'd be thinking, I can't breathe. If I first thought, I'd be like, I gotta, okay, now, and then I'd try it, But to me, my fight or flight, my instinct, my survival instinct is just absolutely. I just couldn't do it. Plus, the guy was a narcissist. I'm never killing myself. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. Narcissists don't kill themselves.
Only with bad jokes. I'm killing myself here, but
so bad.
I know.
All right, so wait. Let's go back. Let's go back and just say so, because some people don't even know who McAfee was, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they've seen the name. It appears every time they turn on and off their computer. Every restart brings you McAfee in your life.
It's just. It's just now, YouTube is just now getting populated with videos on him. And it'll be crazy for the next 6 months because it's so odd. He's going to be the next Epstein. Only the difference is Epstein didn't say any of the insane stuff that this guy said. This guy was saying, I have evidence of corruption in the government. He's saying that the CIA is going to kill me. He said, if my body is found, I did not commit suicide. He even coined the phrase, which I think he coined, Epsteined. If I'm found Epsteined, it was not suicide.
Well, okay, so I think the term Epstein doesn't really refer to suicide. It's probably it's something I've seen on
it's if the government kills you, it makes it look like suicide.
Right.
Is that Epstein?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the new term, but I thought Epstein would mean something different.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
But let me say, he did not have near as much.
My mind is immediately seeing a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old girl
the term
saying
Epstein,
to her teacher, "My stepfather Epstein."
Yes, and I'm being signed out by a guardian. That's what that's the term Epstein to me. My guardian is signing me out of school. Epstein should not be connected. The term Epstein should not be connected
with this
to
with McAfee. Okay,
no, that should be something. Definitely should be something sexual with a superstar. But
so John McAfee, why is he famous? That's why is he a big deal? What did he?
This is a quiz.
Yeah, I'm just asking. I can tell you. You want because I don't want to talk the whole time. Last time I talked 90% of the time,
right?
And people were like, "Bro, let your guests talk." So I'm saying to you,
why is you got to explain? You got to listen. I'm commentary, right? This I'm to give opinion. He's to give facts. You got to break down how this works sometimes.
So John, I'll tell you, John McAfee is the first person back in the late 80s who actually
late 80s.
Was it early 80s?
I think it's early 90s.
Well, he sold his company in 94. So
I thought that's when they made it big, but
well, no.
So you're saying he developed?
You even know what I'm saying? I'm going to say in the 80s, he came up with the first commercially available antivirus software for computers, which is still used massively in computers to this day.
Yes.
So he came up with the software. He was a brilliant software designer. Is it designer, software engineer?
Yeah, engineer, designer.
Whatever. He wrote some stuff.
Those are two different positions. You know that, right?
I don't know. So he wrote some stuff. He wrote some software that, and he started a company, McAfee software design or McAfee antiviral software. So it came out. It was widely used. So for years he ran this company. Apparently the company was insane. Like from what I heard, they're having like I don't know. I'm looking at him. I gotta stop. Tell me not to look at Colby.
Don't look at that guy.
Apparently, from what I understand, they're having sex parties. They're having it was insane. And he was insane anyway, as you'll see as he went on.
Well, I mean, when you got a 20-some-odd-year-old running a company about to be worth billions,
right?
They're not mentally equipped to run that corporation.
Right.
They're mentally equipped for the amount of money and sales that are coming in. You're hiring people
back in the 80s and 90s,
when double your elder. So
this is back when you could still you could still harass women and say.
Right, exactly.
Horrible things.
And that's where I thought the term Epstein came. But go ahead. I'm sorry. But go ahead.
So what happened is in 94, he retired from the company.
Right.
Like he sold it. And I think they said he was, this is back before there were all these billionaires. He was worth $100 million. And they were like, oh my God, he's one of the richest men in the world.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Out of nowhere.
Right. So he then up and moves to Belize.
What about the situation he had with his... Oh, no,
it was in Belize.
When it happened.
He moves to Belize. So
complaining about the American tax code.
Of course. Yeah, he's saying I'm getting crushed.
Yeah.
He's sick of it. He moves to Belize. He buys a house. He actually, did you know he built a police station in the village?
No.
Built a police station. He starts getting super paranoid. He starts saying that the Belize government's after him now, that he hires the police. He hires his own little security force. So he's got his own little security force, private security. And he builds a police station in the middle of this little village because he says it's overrun with drug smugglers, even though there's tons of people there that say, I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway.
Obviously, it's overrun with drug smugglers, but I mean, it's Belize.
So he comes in and he just starts behaving crazy. He gets really into guns. He's having sex with these 15, 16, 17-year-old prostitutes. Actually built a bunch of little bungalows and would have this prostitute lives here, or this, now they're just girlfriends. This girlfriend lives here. This one lives here. He's having sex with them all the time. He builds a lab where he's manufacturing drugs. Although when the Belize government eventually did raid him, they found very little drugs. He ends up getting connected with this woman who's trying to do this anti-aging drug treatment, and she's doing stuff, and they have a falling out. She leaves. She's like, look, he's got guns. He had tons of dogs. And that was a major issue. So eventually, I'm trying to get through this so we can get to the other part. So I'm skipping over stuff, but there's a great article in Wired magazine, by the way, and there's stuff on the internet too, or on YouTube. But the fact is that he starts having a long-standing dispute with one of his neighbors, who is also an American, and the problem is that the other American that's a couple houses down from him is like, look, your dogs are running wild. You have to keep them locked up. And McAfee's kind of a jerk, and he's not going to do that. So the dogs, the neighbors they're harassing me, my family, everything. Well, suddenly one day, his dogs are all poisoned, and a bunch of his dogs die. You didn't know that?
No,
yeah,
I didn't.
This is the dispute. So 2 days later, he's saying, I don't know whether it's proven or not, but the next door neighbor killed my dogs. And so 2 days later, the next door neighbor is found dead. Someone shot him, killed him. Pretty sure, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was shot and killed. And the Belize government immediately says that they focus in on McAfee because he's threatened to kill them. In arguing and shouting matches, he's threatened to kill him.
Right.
So the guy ends up dead, and McAfee flees. Like literally,
Belize.
they raid. Huh?
He flees Belize.
Belize. So they raid his house. By the way, he hides like under a box which is under sand. He actually has like a little hideaway for like 5 or 6 hours, and then he sneaks out, and then he sneaks across the border into some other country. I don't know whether it was Honduras or what it was. Sneaks over there, eventually goes to Canada. He's never indicted or anything, I think, for the murder. It's just always like it's never proven.
Right.
Then he gets into Bitcoin. And by the way, this entire time he's getting crazier and crazier. More and more paranoid.
And he's still making a fortune, right?
Oh, of course. Now he's into Bitcoin. He's one of the original guys that went into Bitcoin. And he makes these insane statements about Bitcoin, by the way. Like he says that Bitcoin someday it's going to be worth $500 per Bitcoin. And people are like, that's insane. But now it's not insane. So they indict him for running what the U.S. government considered a pump and dump scheme.
Right.
They indict him for not filing taxes on. Now he filed taxes, by the way. This is what's funny. He filed taxes, but he didn't file taxes on his Bitcoin profit, which may or may not even be like it is questionable on whether you have to. If you're not living in the United States and I'm trading Bitcoin, whether I have to claim taxes on my Bitcoin profits in the United States, that's questionable. So, I'm a U.S. citizen, but guess what? My residency is in the United States, so I don't have to pay those taxes. But the code is arguable. Maybe not the government doesn't think so. But so the second thing that happened is this. One real quick. He also had a bunch of speaking engagements, not in the United States, that he also made money and didn't claim taxes on those speaking engagements. But he's indicted.
Right.
Eventually, he is caught. He still never goes to the United States. He's staying in international waters. He's got a yacht. He eventually gets caught in the airport in Spain, and the Spanish government holds him in a prison holdover, like a U.S. Marshal's holdover, and he fights extradition. While they're fighting extradition, we can go from there. Is that good? So, I'm sorry. I just wanted to wrap that up and succinctly so you know who he is. Right. That's all.
So the arrest and the fighting of extradition was this year.
Yeah.
All right.
No. He was arrested in October of 2020.
Right.
But he's been held the whole time. It takes a long time.
Fighting extradition.
Court takes a while.
Yes.
Even in Spain.
Yes. Even. All right. So then what happens is he starts sending out tweets and multiple. I don't think he does. He does do an interview, doesn't he?
Yes. But by the way, I'd like to mention that's how laxed the Spanish prison system is.
Yes.
Like I watched a video. I've watched videos, many of them, but one of them was like the toughest prisons in the world. Like, there's like the top 30 of them. None of them are in Spain. Like Spain is not a tough prison system.
No.
Their penitentiary system is like a low security prison in the United States.
Yes.
So he's in a place where he can literally tweet and email. He has a cell phone. He can pick up the phone anytime. His room looks like your bedroom. It's not like he's in a dungeon. It's not that horrible place. I mean, I'm not saying it's like being in your apartment, but I'm saying it's not like this horrible situation where it's layer upon layer of security and lockdowns. And so he starts tweeting while he gets arrested. He's now super paranoid, depending on what your belief is. And he starts tweeting on a regular basis. So, you know what some of the tweets were?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're talking about when he's tweeting out that he's being framed and that this is not just a tax ploy. He doesn't want to go to the United States. He hasn't committed any crime, and what he's done is not unconstitutional, not in the Constitution. And he's crying that he has information on the CIA and how they framed and set him up, and that if he is found dead, he would have been murdered. Is that where you got the term Epstein?
Yeah. Here it is. It's know that if I hang myself, it says L. Epstein, like I don't know. If I hang myself, L. Epstein. No, Allah. Okay, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not that sharp, bro. It's not my fault.
I mean, what do you Allah mode? You think it's Ella mode?
I was educated in this house.
All right, no problem.
So if I hang myself, a la Epstein, it will be no fault of mine. and he says, "Oh, the food is good, all is well. I'm content here. I have friends." This is not a suicidal guy.
Correct. Well, he's letting you know up front that he thinks he might be murdered.
Yeah. He's already concerned. He's got a he's super concerned about it.
And lo and behold, what happens?
Well, by the way, he also tweeted this. I've collected files on corruption in governments. For the first time, I'm naming names and specifics. I'll begin with a corrupt CIA agent and 2 Bahama officials coming today. If I'm arrested or disappear, 31 plus terabytes of incriminating data will be released to the press.
Yes.
So he's making these. You know what? And I said Epstein. There never was Epstein. We forget about that. He did. He said a la Epstein. I thought he said Epstein. I don't know why I heard that somewhere. Me and somebody else were joking about it. I thought that was something that he had a phrase he'd coined. So let me correct that. He said he's getting subtle messages from the U.S. officials saying, in effect, "We're coming for you, McAfee. We're going to kill." We're going to kill yourself. I got to
kill yourself.
That's what it says. We're going to kill yourself. It doesn't make sense, but that's fine.
That might not be his words, but go ahead.
I got a tattoo today just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm. And he actually got a tattoo that says whacked on his arm. Listen, it's not a joke that he's dead, but this guy's something else. This guy's great.
Right, but that doesn't sound like someone speaking English giving that.
Well, I mean, he's if you ever heard him talking and just on the interviews, this is a guy, no filter. He just blah, 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 blah. Some of his sentences are just
running
choppy
on.
And
yeah, well, I mean,
he doesn't speak extremely succinctly.
No. All right, so he turns up hung.
Well, here's what happened. Wait. Well, first of all, so he turns up hung, but literally like the day the court says we are going to allow you to be extradited. And by the way, in front of the court, when he got in front of they had like a little trial, he explains to the judges that this is politically motivated, that the government of the United States wants to get me back to the United States. They want to throw me in jail forever. This is all political. I didn't, these are all trumped up charges to try and get me back to the United States. So he says all these things. He's in fear of his life, the whole thing. He's talking about the CIA killing him. He says all this in court. Then, so the day they make their decision, they say, we are going to allow you to be extradited back to the United States and potentially face a 30-year prison sentence
for tax evasion.
Which is insane. Ridiculous.
Like a judge over there is probably like, "What? That's funny." That's like nobody gets that.
Well, what's so funny is like depending on how much he owes, he could have probably gotten 10 to 20 years. But let's face it, he's 75. That's a death sentence. You're dead. True. The average person in the United States, 75 years, lives to 75. Average man.
Right. But look. Think about this also. To another country facing 30 years for not paying taxes.
It's unheard of.
The judge would be like, what? That's got to be a lie. Where would you be facing 30 years for not paying?
In Norway.
Why not just make you pay? I don't understand.
In Norway, you basically murder carries like 4 or 5 years. They gave the stiffest murder sentence they ever gave out. Do you remember the guy that took automatic weapons in Norway and went and killed something like 80 some odd children and camp staff members in Norway?
Wow!
At a summer camp, he killed 80 of them. He got the maximum sentence the Norwegians could give him, 22 years. Government gave me for 26 years for filling out some paperwork. So in the United States,
and making a lot of money, but. I mean, there's that
end
of it.
If you look at go on YouTube and check out what Norwegians prisons are like, they live better than me.
Yes, now
they
live better than now. Yes.
So anyway, Epstein.
They do get the upgraded iPhone, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
2 hours. So I shouldn't look at you, but I need to look at you to know that I'm not the only one.
That's ridiculous. That's you saying the joke was not funny, I can't believe he made it. That's what you're saying. You're like, hey,
because people don't know.
You stop him. That's what you're saying.
It's so corny. Okay, and what bothers me the worst is that now that 80% of the comments on our videos are about how amazingly wonderful you are, and what about me?
Thank you.
Nobody says I'm great anymore. Like 20% are like, oh yeah, and Matt was there too.
That's right.
Anyway, so 2 hours after the court says, yeah, you can go back to the United States to McAfee.
Yeah,
he's found dead.
He's found dead.
Right, in a cell has a bunk bed, has nothing to hang yourself on. There's nothing on the ceiling to hang yourself. There's just the tallest thing in the room is the door frame, and his bunk bed. So I don't know. And then before there's no autopsy, anything. Immediately they come out and they say, this is the Spanish government comes out immediately and says, suicide. How do you know it's suicide? Like, even look, when people go crazy on Epstein, I'm like, it wasn't murder. He's committed suicide. There's no way to get in those facilities. But in this case, now I know you disagree, but in this case, I have to admit, it's suspect. It's suspect.
Do you think he committed suicide?
Who, Epstein?
No,
or McAfee.
Either.
Well, Epstein, I think he committed suicide. You've been in U.S. Marshal holdovers. There's no way to get into those facilities. That means that
you mean another inmate? How about the guards?
That's what I'm saying. Like, even the guards, they have to go through layer
camera
after
was off. So
none of those cameras. Listen, we can't do it. We're talking about McAfee.
Okay, all right.
That's a whole nother
McAfee. All right.
McAfee.
So yeah, do you think that
I think it's suspect that he was found dead and that he.
So you think he killed himself?
I think it's suspect.
So you think
it's questionable?
You're saying that as if death will find a way. He's looking around like, okay, I don't exactly know how I'm gonna take my life, so I'll come up with this makeshift. And kill myself. Death is not going to find a way for you to take your own life. It will if someone else is taking your life. So for him to be that determined and that good at suicide, I mean.
Well, let's. I know you're saying basically what you're trying to say in a really bad way is it's hard to kill yourself.
Yes,
it's not easy to kill yourself. I agree. It's not that easy.
Because you go, okay, because I'm sure the first time my knee.
Yeah,
I'll try it tomorrow.
Right. Given the right circumstances, like if you have the right tools, it's easy.
Well, a gun.
Yeah, if you have a gun, it's pretty easy to kill yourself. Well, even then, how many people shoot themselves and don't die? I've known people that they've shot themselves and the bullet just went through their eye sockets and they lived. I know a guy that shot himself.
And they don't go for a second attempt?
I actually do.
Like after you're like, okay,
I didn't know the guy, but
give me the gun again, please.
This guy's father shot himself once. Boom. The bullet went through his eyes, his eye sockets. Now he's blind. He woke up. It knocked him out, obviously. A couple of minutes later, he woke up, searched around, had to find the gun, and shot himself again. That's commitment. That's commitment.
That is commitment.
That dude wants to die.
Yeah.
Like at that point, how much pain was he in? First of all, you didn't want to die anyway. Now you're blind. So I was already depressed.
And now I'm blind. Yeah, I went out of there. Out of there.
Okay, so but this is a guy who really didn't have the tools to commit suicide, other than to be able to hang
a blanket.
Himself,
you got,
which is rough. That's a rough way to go.
That takes innovation. I'm sorry, but who has the innovation to turn a blanket into a tool for suicide?
If you have scissors, I mean, it's and first of all, it's either way. Look, either way. Right.
Come on,
the nice thing about hanging.
How good are you at slip knots? Look, they found you hung. Can you tie a slip knot enough to kill yourself?
The reason hanging is a decent way to kill people is that if you know how to do it and you measure and you can drop the body, the neck snaps and it's over. Yes. The problem is he doesn't have that luxury. He has to asphyxiate.
Asphyxiate.
Right. So he has to choke himself to death. So is it hanging? I mean, yeah, if he was hung, but I don't know that he was hung. He basically has to figure out a way to tighten tightly and your instinct. Right. I agree. Okay, but put that aside.
What? Why?
Because we know even if someone held it and killed him, put that aside. Here's my problem. My problem is if someone killed you in the United States, other than a camp, it's difficult to get through all of the layers of security. Stop. I'm talking about in the United States. I'm saying in
Epstein in the United States.
In Spain, though, this guy is not being held in a massive facility. Spanish prisons are not at this level, are not overly secure. So I can see that it's possible that someone could maybe get to him. But still, you have to imagine there has to be video. Like, these are things that will come out. Like
get out have to be supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Right. And those things malfunction. Secure. It's amazing.
You mean like with
the
Epstein?
Body cam. Yeah.
They malfunction like with Epstein.
Yeah.
They malfunction.
Yes.
That's legit.
Somehow, Your Honor, my body cam turned off right before he was shot 18 times.
Right.
And then a couple of minutes later, I turned it back on. Like, oh.
I realized it was off during the incident.
I'm back. Hello? Yes.
All right. So first of all, so you think if that were to have happened, if they killed him, first of all, where's this terabyte of or all this data? We don't know. We don't know what he had, if he had anything.
Probably buried with him up his butt, as he was buried. Where do we put the terabytes? Up his terra.
It's just so bad.
I'm sorry.
Listen, when you do the words, what are they called? The keywords? You put in corny. Just in case people search corny, our video will come up and they'll be like corny, and then just put like corny. So, all right.
No problem. Thank you.
Anyway, and
no,
go ahead.
No.
First of all this data that's supposed to be released if he's found dead, which he said it will be released if I'm found dead. Where's that?
Those are what you call bluffs. Okay.
So
bluffs are not just apartment complexes you were searching. Bluffs are also sorry. Bluffs are also things that you say to try to scare governments. Like, hey, if something happens to me, there'll be evidence released that will frame Donald Trump.
Right. All right. So
then something happens to me, and you're like, hey, what happened to that evidence? Like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't really have any of it.
That's what I tell my assailants. I don't really have any.
He kills himself.
I know. I'm so funny. I don't know what.
All right. So, So you think it's possible he was killed. So how does that happen?
Hey, Bill, turn the camera off. Me and John are going in here right quick. We're coming back out. We're catching the flight about 20 minutes from now, and you'll get your money in the morning. Okay, cool. All right.
So you think that? So you think this is what you are? We saying
CIA? It's an assassination.
So the CIA goes to the guards that are going to be on duty. They go to the guards at home. So they connect to them at home. They say, "Look, you're going to get this much money. I can't tell you who I am. It's a whole black bag operation, but we know that they're going to allow him to be to." Well, first of all, if he was going to the United States, they could have done it in the United States. But killing someone in another country makes the investigation that much more difficult.
No, if he gets to the United States, he'll probably get to talk to a lawyer, and
right.
He'll probably be able to tell him something.
And there's a lot more security as you go, but right. It's easier to kill him in Spain.
We kill him where it's most convenient.
Right.
Okay, and here's the press release.
Oh yeah.
And that's the code. This is the
other thing. This is the other thing that bothers me. Well, so first of all, so CIA goes to the guards. They say, we're going to give you money. You're going to, at this time, you're going to shut off the cameras. We're going to come in. We're going to have a little chit chat with this guy.
You don't just shut the camera. You hit the breaker.
Yeah, whatever. So the cameras malfunction. We go in. We have a discussion with the guy. He stops breathing. We come out. You turn everything back on. You guys find him a couple hours later. You try and revive him. That's it. You'll get the X amount of dollars, whatever. Okay, so I get that. Maybe that's possible. Maybe it's not. I disagree, but whatever. We'll see. We don't know. But here's what really, this is the part that I literally, when I went on YouTube and was doing little research on YouTube just to see, I was looking for a documentary. And one of the first things that came up after I'd read the article, and I was already thinking, this is odd. Like, this is weird. But the first feed that came up was CNBC News came up. And this is after I'd read all of the tweets about him saying they're going to kill me. If I'm found dead, it wasn't suicide. I'm not suicidal. Like he said all of these things. The first thing that comes up is CNBC News, and the guy starts talking about Epstein and how he came up with this antiviral software and had a crazy life and had been indicted and was looking at 30 years in prison. And they say, the newscaster says, here's the thing. He was fighting extradition. He was looking at 30 years in prison. And then he reads a quote. He says, a week prior to his death, he wrote this, or days prior to his death, he wrote this. I have no Bitcoin left. All of the money is gone. I have nothing. I love my I love my family dearly. Something along those lines. And he says, the court then said he could be extradited, and hours later, he was found dead in his cell via suicide. And I thought, and then they were like, God rest him or whatever. And then that was it. And I thought, well, that's like, is that the press release? Like you might as well work for the fucking government, bro. Like,
exactly.
You don't like, that's what you're going to say. You're not going to say anything about all the tweets about suicide, about don't believe it. I'm not suicidal. I'm happy. I have good food. I have friends here.
Coming directly from his mouth.
Right.
Those quotes that he's personally spoke in interviews.
Right. And
you ignore those.
You read the one thing that makes it sound like he's potentially suicidal. The one thing, you read that to support the idea that he committed suicide. And that was when I read that, when I saw that, I thought, that's the first time, like typically I'm very skeptical of people that say anything about conspiracies or anything. But when I heard that, I was sitting there looking at it on my phone and I thought, wow. Like that was straight out of the U.S. Attorney's press release core. I mean, that was a press, like, and I just, and I hate these guys that are always saying how the media is 100% on the government side and it's biased and this and this. And I'm like, that's not true. They're just going off of facts and they're going off of, but that in this instance, I thought, wow.
You have to be leery of what I call the succinct press release of what happens when it comes to things like that. The succinct, the very directly to the point, the believable statements that are easy to follow and like, that's very possible. Like all indications say that he committed suicide. Like what you're thinking there is like, well, people looked around and said, well, I mean, this and that. Well, I mean, that's suicide. We looked at that. It's the same. It's the same with the George Floyd.
Right.
The press release that Chauvin and the other police officers put out, and I have it right here.
Right.
And when they were arresting George Floyd,
right. But this is proof. This shows you how much it can change.
How much of a lie. I mean, everyone knows what happened to George Floyd, and the press put out.
This is the first press release that came out.
Right. He was ordered to step from his car, George Floyd. After he got out, he physically resisted the officers. The officer was able to get the suspect in the handcuff and noted he appeared to be suffering medical distress. Officers called for an ambulance. He was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center by ambulance, where he died a short time later. Like
body cams.
Yeah, well, they did note that the body cams were turned on,
and the body cams were on,
and no weapons were used. So they're
so if you read that, you immediately think, well, the body cams are on. It was on video.
No weapons were used.
No weapons were used.
So he probably wasn't.
He resisted, and he had a medical issue.
Yes,
he died.
I mean, yes, that happened.
Like if you read that sums it all up. Let's move on.
Exactly. That's exactly what that's saying. Move along. We've covered all angles.
And what was it? His family basically through such a well,
the girl, when she saw this in the newspaper, she's like, no, that's not what happened.
What girl?
The girl that videotaped George. I forgot her name.
Right.
When she saw
was up
this,
the wall, kind of in the yeah.
No, she was standing there like with the other people on the street. There were other people standing there like yelling at the cop, right? But when she saw the press release, she's like, no. Here's what happened. And when she released that, like that went out to all the news stations. I think she released it via Facebook. I think she got a Pulitzer. Pulitzer, right, for that. When they released that and they saw it, they're kind of like, whoa, do you know the police came back and said, well, here's a little bit more about kind of what happened. That's not what happened. Here's a little bit more about what happened. Then they're like, hold up a second. When we look at this video, this is not even close to any statement that we put out.
And then they decided, we're going to have to indict some of our guys. some of our guys are going to have to go down. We usually can slip by with this, but Timmy, Jim, Bob, I'm sorry. You know,
I mean, you should have kind of stepped in.
But Frank, you've killed multiple people. I know, but I wasn't on video, you idiot. Look around.
I mean, geez. I mean, the guy took 9 minutes to pass. I mean, at some point you're like, well, maybe not this one. But okay, so the deal with McAfee is it's all indications that he committed suicide. So
it's definitely suspect.
Yeah, maybe most indications. Not all.
It's questionable.
Yeah, I mean, what about the video
I would love
beforehand?
to see the video. I'd love to see the video. There has to be video. Like there's no way that there's a prison system out there that doesn't have video. Like they have to have video. Well, now, if they come forward and they have video,
the camera malfunctioned.
Right.
Right.
Well,
but that's my point. All indications.
Or also, here's the thing: how hard is it to fake video? Like if you've got control of the prison staff, how hard is it to actually fake video?
I mean, what are you gonna? It'll be pretty hard to fake him hanging himself. At some point, you'll know it's animated. Like, well, I mean, he looks a little
like
cartoonish.
They don't have videos.
That looks like Scooby hanging himself.
They don't have videos.
Rari Raggy. But
oh my God!
Listen, they had video.
Did you have coffee?
Yes, I did.
There's no coffee.
They had video in Epstein's cell.
In his cell?
Not in his cell. On his cell.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look,
and it malfunctioned.
Okay,
in the hour that he died.
We're talking about this. I'm saying, like, if you had complete control of everything, to me, you would have someone come in and show. You wouldn't let it be malfunctioned. What you do is you keep it on and you'd clip it and expand it so that you could slip in there, kill him, and leave, and then have it there. So it's like, look, nobody ever went in, and you could look at the video in the time lapse.
Yeah, but you got him alive and you got him dead.
No, I understand that. So then it would be proof that he was in there alone and he killed himself.
Okay, explain it. So
you're making an argument. Right. I'm with you. I'm telling you.
But I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, what I'm saying.
So you're saying you splice the video. So you show him standing there.
Not him. If you're just videoing the door, and what you're saying is right now what happens is the video shuts off. It's not working. So anybody could have gone in the door, killed him, and left.
Well, what if the video shows he's in a cell with bars? So what if the video shows him in the cell?
Well, I understand, but in both these cases they weren't. They were the regular door with the window. So you're not really seeing him move around in there. You don't see in the cell. You can see a little sliver.
If that's the case, then you're right. There'd be no need.
But what's happening right now is the video that was on the door doesn't even work.
Right.
So someone could come in, kill him, and leave, and they say, well, did we see anybody go in the cell and leave? Well, no, but the video doesn't work.
But here's what I'm saying. In Epstein's case, when you're on suicide watch, you're under video the whole time.
Well, he wasn't. He was taken off suicide watch.
Correct.
When he was killed.
Right, and which took him off, but he was still solitary. They can see you at all times, which is why the video malfunction. A video malfunction means they can watch you, and so if someone kills you, they should be able to see who killed you.
Right.
Right. So if it's just the door, there'll be no video malfunction. There will be splicing. A video malfunction means like when the police officers say, "Hey, my body cam went off."
Right.
That means I probably should have had video evidence showing you what happened, but I don't have it.
Right. And in Epstein's case, the camera wasn't working.
Correct. Because they could see him the whole time. So you wouldn't be able to splice. It wasn't just the door. That's what I'm saying. You're not just looking at the door. You're looking at Epstein in the cell, walking around, pissing, sitting down.
But that's if he was on suicide.
No, it's solid. They also do that for solitary.
Oh, I didn't know. I mean,
yes.
I've been in SEG. There was no video on me.
No, not that's in SEG, but you're not by yourself.
Yeah, I was in a cell by myself when I was in the SHU. I was there like one time I was there like 45 days. I only had a roommate maybe 5 days.
All right. Well, it wouldn't be high profile.
Right. But they did have a video going down the hallway so you could see when people come in and out of the cells.
And they spliced that.
Right.
That never malfunctioned.
Oh, okay.
But the video
that was on his cell, in his cell, showing him, you're saying was
the one that malfunctioned. Same thing for McAfee. the video would only malfunction if it distinctly showed him being killed or him hanging himself.
Well, we don't know. Anyway, we don't know. This is all supposition because the fact is we don't know whether there was even a camera or whether it was on or what the case may be. But it will be interesting to see over time if suddenly these videos do actually come out and they show this was malfunction, or they say, look, he walked in the cell. Nobody ever went in and out of the cell. And then 4 hours later, a guard came by to count everybody and they saw him in there dead. Well, then it's like, okay, well, he was in there dead. Now, to me, if it was someone who came in and killed him and then left, then you would splice the film. The film.
You would splice the door
to eliminate showing that person come in and out.
But first of all, that video is not going to show up.
You think there is no video? You think they have no video?
No. The professionals that do this, that video is not going to show up.
No, obviously you're not going to allow yourself to be on camera.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That video is not. Those type of things are professional jobs because you've got corrections and law enforcement involved. Those are professional hits. That video is never going to show up. And if it can be spliced, there's never going to be a discussion about the video if it can be spliced.
Right.
And if it can't be spliced, then it's like, okay, we had a malfunction. It didn't work. So that's my whole point of saying that. So that's when you know there's a problem. When the video works fine, except for the period of time that he dies.
Did you ever see, off subject, I hear you, I understand you, I get it, everybody's following, I get it. But did you ever see the movie Shooter?
Yes.
Where they have that. They actually come in, they grab the guy, they actually have a device they put on the guy's thing with the crank the thing and the guns in the hand, they just start twisting the thing. It's like, he's like, oh my God, like there's nothing he can do. He's about to shoot himself.
You know what that guy says, don't you?
What?
He's like, hey, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
He goes, this is not my first time using this device.
Yeah.
Like he says it very distinctly.
Yeah. Like I've been through this many times.
This is going to happen. It's going to happen. He's like, this is going to happen.
That little device is like as soon as he fires it and they take it off, everything says he killed himself.
All indications.
Yes.
Is that he committed suicide.
We know better.
It's like
but all indications.
Look how perfect that all indications is that he tied that perfect knot, angled himself just right so that he could be asphyxiated.
You know, the best thing would be is like somebody orders what you really do is you have McAfee order a book on how to tie knots, like slip knots. So he gets it and looks at it and goes, why would someone send me this? This is weird. No, you ordered it. And guess what? A week from now, it'll be perfectly obvious why you ordered it. As soon as our boys get here, the black bag guys come in and that's a great knot. Yeah, thank you. All right. So,
and
obviously, we don't know what happened. Let's wrap this up.
Because if we did, there'll be some malfunctioning of video later.
If we did, you'd never. If we did,
this video will malfunction.
If we knew anything, YouTube would immediately take this video down. At one phone call from the federal government, they'd be like, "Yeah, listen, you got this video. I don't know what's going on. Take it down."
That's right.
Of course. We're all. We're.
Well, we're gonna call that guy tomorrow. Can it be the day after tomorrow? Give us a little time. But anyway.
All right. So, if you like the video, hit the like button.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Bam.
Share the video.
Boom.
Leave a comment for the algorithm. Let us know if you have any questions for Zach or I, and we're going to do a compilation video. Compilation means a bunch of videos. Forget it. I didn't even say that. Okay, we're going to do a video where we answer all of those comments or all the questions in the comments. We'll do a video where we read through the best comments and we answer those comments on a future video podcast interview style thing. So that's it. Do me a favor, and if you like the video, send it to 10 of your friends and family, and let's try and get some views up and subscribers up, and so I can make a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Stop complaining about the ads.
He needs that. I'm a fat boy.
Stop complaining about the ads, okay? I'm tired of hearing you got too many. Listen, I don't work for free. I just got out of prison. I'm broke. It's not like I'm making any money on this thing. Those ads, don't take it. But get YouTube Premiere For God's sake, it's like $9. It's nothing.
Per month.
It's
for
nothing.
Unlimited.
It's awesome too, bro. Because I've got it. It's awesome. And let me tell you something.
Videos, music.
You can download. Here's the great thing. Now, when you turn off YouTube, like when you get out of the app, it shuts it off. What's great is you can shut off the app and it continues to play. You can download free music. You can download stuff. You have a playlist. You can download movies. They've got a bunch of free movies. You could do all kinds.
Television shows.
It's worth $9. Matter of fact, cancel Netflix and Hulu and just go with YouTube because it's 10 times better. 10 times better.
Yes.
Absolutely. Somebody's texting me. All right, so that's what you need to do. Stop complaining about the ads. I don't want to hear it. Or I think somebody told me you can speed through the whole thing and rewatch it and the ads are gone. I don't suggest that. I feel like I don't get paid on that. But anyway, so, see ya.